Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Sorry, because sometimes maybe I will switch to some words in Portuguese because we are using to speak Portuguese there. But if so happens, I think that some of the people who are here at the audience will help me to translate the Portuguese. But then I would like to share with you our experience in strategic planning for reform of the human resources for the supply chain there in Mozambique. This assessment was done by Dr. Kevin Peels, who are here present, and he was working with some of our partners and colleagues there at the CIMAM, which is the Central Medical Stores in Mozambique. So this is some of our profile, just to show you that we are at the southeast region of Africa. It's a very nice place. You can visit us there. We have nice beaches, so you can come to visit us. Yes, so in this assessment, which we have done it for our strategic plan, we have some challenges, several challenges at the supply chain, but one of the most important is just the issue of insufficient human resource in terms of both quantity and also capacity. So this one is what we want to talk about here in terms of what we have planning to do to try to solve the problem of human resource supply chain. So as examples of the most challenges in the supply chain, you can see here is that in fact, if you look to the provinces, you can see that the average human resources available there are less than the district depots. It means that the depots, sometimes we don't have people who are trained in logistic activities. You can see also that mostly we have pharmacy technicians there and basic manual laborers who are managing a lot of commodities with a high value, as you can see here. So this is a big problem, big challenge which we are facing there. The same situation you can see at the provincial stores, where you see that in terms of personnel who are trained, most of them are never been trained in logistic activities. And also you can see that people who are leading the provincial depots are recently graduated pharmacists or pharmacy technicians, and a lot of them, they have never had formal in-service supply chain training, which is a big problem then, considering that they are managing a lot of commodities, even in terms of value, as you can see. So in our strategic planning, which was done in two processes, the first one was the health sector strategic plan, and the second one was a pharmaceutical logistics strategic plan, which were done both almost at the same time. We have shown that one of the big challenges, in fact, is to have sustainable approach to supply chain human resource, among others challenges that we have. So in the strategic plan, when we see the general objective in terms of human resource, is that we would like to to have sufficient training and qualified, experienced, and motivated personnel available and in conditions that permit to retain them at all levels of the supply chain. Because the problem of retention is a challenge, in fact, because people who are well trained and then several times they are leaving the system to other places where they are more needed. They like to earn more salaries and so on. So in the process of implementation, our plan, so we are looking for those issues, see, which are listed here. Also, in terms of strategy, we want to see that in fact, what I want to say is that the process of planning started at the People That Deliver meeting in Geneva in 2011, where we have participated also. And then from that, we learned that we need to move forward doing this strategy. And then we did it. We try to define our objective in terms of strategic plan. These processes had come to recommendations where then were transformed in specific objectives and activities to be implemented, to be incorporated in this implementation plan. And then we have done our budget for over 10 years. Now we know how much money we need to implement this plan. Now we are in a process of mobilizing funds to implement the plan. Well, the new approaches, what we are trying to follow is that. In fact, what I want to say is that we are trying to move from one approach, which is the old approach, where the Minister of Health is recruiting and managing and also doing everything in terms of human resource, to a new approach, which is that we at the Central Medical Store, we should recruit personnel, we should manage, we should retain, we should manage the performance and everything. So these approaches is what was recommended also by the PTD. So on our plans, we are bringing here some of examples of activities what we would like to develop in terms of human resource. So we would like to delegate or devolve management authority for human resource to the supply chain. In this case, what I was saying, we want to bring this activity to the Central Medical Stores. We want to conduct a rigorous assessment of tasks, competences, and human resource needs within the supply chain. Analyze outsourcing opportunities for non-core business to assess competencies outside of the civil services. This is what I've heard in this meeting, that we should also use some of the competences from the private sector. So in this case, we are outsourcing some of our activities to the private sector, and then to develop a retention strategy. Also, we want to develop a civil service cadre and pre-service degree program for logistics. This one is, in fact, we have developed it, and then we are in a process of approval. I hope that during this week, it will be approved within the Ministry of Health. Then we want to expand pre-service supply chain training to new cadres. Like, okay, in this case, we are training pharmacy staff, nurse, lab technicians, and others to be able to manage the commodities. We want to develop single, harmonized, and prioritized plan for in-service training within the supply chain, and to develop coaching and mentoring programs for supply chain staff. So far, we have reached some of our approaches in terms of strategic plan. At the moment, we have a new recognition of importance of supply chain staff within the Directorate of the Ministry of Health. Ministry of Health approved a new workforce plan for the central medical stores, which it will increase in more than 250% growth in staff over the next 5 years. Develop terms of reference for all departments and job descriptions for most positions at central medical stores. And we have implemented collective incentives created for supply chain staff at the central, at the provincial, and district levels. Here we have the whole support for our main partners. And we're going to expand our supply chain curriculum to 280 hours of training for these people is what will be approved during these weeks. The next steps, as I was saying, is that we need to identify financial, technical support for activities, and build capacity of the central stores to manage human resource, and then to continue to gather evidence throughout the implementation process to ensure evidence-based decision-making. Lesson learned on this process is that involvement within the Ministry of Health, of all levels in the Ministry of Health, and having evidence-based oriented for strategic planning, and also the participatory assessment, which had taken time much for us, but all those made us to be more easily to have our plan approved at the Ministry of Health. It was so difficult to make all people to understand the importance of human resources for supply chain. But then as the process was done involving everyone there, the approval process was most easier. And that was all. Muito obrigado.